Garfield Bright, representing the Urban Education Think Tank, here with the Gospel Tribune Atlanta on the campus of Georgia State University in the Untitled Crim Center for Urban Educational Excellence. Check out GTA TV. Coming right at you. Peace.
So excited, we're back at the Alonzo A. Crim Center down at Georgia State University. We're here with Garfield Bright. God bless you, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm great.
Man,
nice
welcome to the Gospel Tribune Atlanta.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We're also back with Dr. Candace Cabell. Tell us a little bit about, Garfield, your position here at the Crim Center.
Well, I'm a graduate research assistant for Dr. Williams. There are several graduate research assistants in the Crim Center. I happen to be Dr. Williams' research assistant. And I do a number of things. I coordinate meetings. The Sources Committee is a conference that's coming up now, and I'm heavily involved with that. But I'm also the student chair of something called the Urban Education Think Tank, coming out of the Crim Center. And it's a collective of PhD students in different places in their matriculation. And we basically sharpen each other's steel in terms of like any dissertation trajectories. We do an incubator method where we go around and give critical feedback. But we're also looking to always try to create ways that we connect with the community, utilizing our different talents and our different specialties, so we can have big works coming out, presenting at conferences. Myself and a colleague of mine in the think tank just went the past couple of weeks to, because we get funded for travel to do research, we went to North Carolina, and we also went to Jersey, Philly, and New York to actually interview, do oral histories, so we can publish on Brown versus Board of Education. The first case, a lot of people don't know there's 5 cases, and the first one is Briggs versus Elliott. So we actually know the descendants or the immediate family of Briggs and other people involved, and so we interviewed them, and we're going to write an article based on it, telling the kind of an angle that's never been kind of reported. So, those are the types of things that the think tank does.
So you get to sit around with a bunch of smart young people and adults and just having a good time.
Definitely. It's a family, and we definitely want to be a family.
Awesome. And all of you are working on your PhDs in education, urban education?
Urban education is definitely, the purview is where we dwell. So it's early childhood education. I'm coming from African American studies, there's gender studies involved. So it's a wide range, of interests that all kind of culminate in this umbrella of urban education.
Do you have any of the students in behavioral science?
Behavioral science, I'm not sure. I don't think that we have a behavioral science, but we're doing interviews for January. We have 3 spots to fill, and those, we take all comers from urban education. So there's a chance that somebody from there could.
Now, in this think tank, are they all here in the Atlanta area, or?
They're in the Atlanta area. Okay. Currently, actually, I think the think tank members come from Georgia State.
Oh, okay.
Garfield, tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
I have a.
He started smiling when he talked.
My background is funny. I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, in Harry Hospital. But I lived there only a short time. I moved to Knoxville with my parents. They moved to Montgomery when I was about 6. And so I went through 1st through 7th grade in Montgomery. And then I finally moved to. Actually, I moved to Atlanta for a year. The Wayne Williams trial was going on. And then my father moved to Boston, so I ended up going to Boston when I was around 12. And I came of age in Boston. I went to high school there. It was funny because my experiences with the race, because this is like the 70s, early 80s, not far removed from the 60s. And when I was living in Montgomery, I used to fight all the time for people calling me the N-word. But when I moved to Boston, my father lived in this neighborhood in Quincy, Massachusetts. And so he was professional. He had a nice apartment, but the actual community was Irish, Italian immigrants who did the same thing in the South. So I was able to kind of like, through my movement, get like a compare and contrast kind of feel for the similarities and differences of the Southern racism versus the Northern racism that I felt growing up as a kid, and kind of created my lens through which I saw life from that point. And a lot of it is kind of like what landed me in African American studies and places like that, because I wanted to look more critically at what I was living through and trying to figure out, how I could use that to kind of like maybe be a springboard or sounding board to impact other kids or people from different places who had to interface with that same type of energy. So I was always searching for a solution set, start connecting to broader society and looking at dynamics, and so that really kind of took me over here, where I'm now Social Foundations of Ed Policy in my PhD program. So all of that kind of stuff informed who I am. When I moved to Montgomery, I went to a school on the campus of Alabama State University called the Early Childhood Center. real experimental program. They had traditional classrooms, but they also had this concept called the big well, where we would leave the rows and columns of desks in the authoritative power mode of teacher, student, and we were sitting around. And when we sat around, the power dynamic was a dialogue. You know, like Freire talks about dialogue, and so we were equal. And so there was more feedback. The students felt more. And I remember just going back in my mind, remembering how it felt. So I structure my classroom to this day, because I teach high school too right now, and at Black Star Education Institute.
Oh, wow.
It's an independent black school, and so I have the liberty kind of to create my own thing. And so I make my classroom around, and the energy is definitely there. You know, I call my classroom the free zones: family, respect, equality, and excellence. Those are the only rules in my class. We're gonna strive to have those, and that's a free zone. But it's amazing how the energy is different in that mode. And so a lot of my life lessons come from my upbringing.
Wow.
I apply them.
What are you most passionate about?
Can't tell. Education and creativity.
Specifically,
It's the
early
same
childhood
thing.
education.
Nah. You know, I've team taught a college course at Cal State Northridge called The Politics of Hip Hop, which married. It was a political science class that married the dynamics of the entertainment industry, the record business, how you get your record played. There's a lot of parallels, politically speaking, when you're looking at power dynamics between that mode of being and actual electoral politics. For example, like you have political action committees that put money into a candidate to get their interests served and get them elected. Well, you also have record labels who give money to the program directors to get albums played. And a lot of it is the same kind of rules to the game. You know, it's informed by who can access the program director and position themselves to get the end result, which is their candidate, so to speak, known or seen. So you start paralleling the two worlds, and then it becomes more tangible, relatable to the college students. And you know, so the pedagogy is more effective in that regard. But I also love music. I sing in a group called Shy from the 90s.
We were getting to that.
And you know, that's part of me. So my students are always amazed that I'm in this classroom and they look at people from the entertainment industry as this larger than life kind of piece.
Wow.
Why are you here teaching us? And I'm like, look, that's something that's in me. And so, you know, I don't see myself as this, you know, star. Bruce Lee was like, what is a star? That's some kind of illusion. Bruce Lee was one of the best philosophers you'll ever hear. You need to check out Bruce Lee. But he was like, a star, that's an apparition. A person can be a good singer. Okay, that's tangible, that's concrete. So star and all of that stuff, I just happen to love singing, got a record deal, and got put in front of a lot of people's face through video and stuff like that. But the person, Garfield, I like to teach. I'm an educator. I like knowledge. So I'm doing what I'm created to do. It just so happens that it's not as normal as people would like to think. But, you know, it's me. It's all wrapped up in this person.
I hear you talk about policy. Do you see yourself working politically on behalf of education in the future?
Politically in terms of, you know,
Political activist.
Yeah, activist type of cat. You know, coming from African American study, academic excellence and social responsibility is their mantra. That's drilled into me. And so I cannot see myself just sitting in the ivory tower, which is a good segue for what the Crim Center means to me. Because the Crim Center, even though it's embedded within the university, a Research One University, is very much so collegial and that whole nine and academic. It's also like a conduit, you know, for the community. There's real tangible links into the community, the Good Neighbor program, and, you know, early college and all of these different things really ground themselves in the community while being located spatially within the university. And so I'm like a middleman too in my world. And so there's no way I'm going to be able to just have a career in education where I'm just totally solely teaching in a college setting. I'm really trying to create something called communities based on the school once I get my PhD. Getting it from I'm getting it from alternative sources of money. I'm really not trying to do the Ford Foundation and those types of Bill and Melinda Gates. I really want to go to Magic Johnson and Michael Jordans and Kanye's and people like Puffy who I went to school with, because I'm, you know, close to the entertainment circles. So I want to get my funding from them because they can't co-opt my vision, and do it that way. So I'm gonna be an academic. I'm gonna be doing academic things. I'm gonna be informed by education in the classroom, but in the community, as opposed to just teaching, you know, in ivory tower.
One of the issues that is plaguing our community, and we find it every day in schools all across America, is bullying. Will you look right into the camera and just denounce bullying?
Bullying is whack. It's something that speaks to a larger insecurity, and it's something that, you know, we have to work on. I mean, before we really identify bullying, we need to really identify patriarchy, and we really need to go to hegemony. We really need to go to systems like colonialism that are structurally bullying, and because anything that's byproducts come from that as a source. And so we can't stop at the byproducts and isolate that in a vacuum. We have to go to what's really creating in people this whole understanding of a better than situation where I can push my weight around because I have it. Like there are different countries, if it was based on horizontal dynamics, then each country, if they're really sovereign, it wouldn't matter who has a bigger military, who can dominate, because each one would respect one's own sovereign interests. It's not about who can beat who, it's about respect. It's like a consociational kind of piece. So bullying on a smaller level is a byproduct of, I think, of a misdirected, patriarchal, imbalanced, hierarchical society. Capitalism has a lot to do with that too, because competition, individualism comes from that, and bullying is that. Like if you come from an I am because we are context, which is like a West African philosophy, like the Akan, you'll see yourself in other people. You're bullying somebody else, you're bullying yourself, you're bullying your community. But if you see yourself as detached from that concept, it's going to be easy for you to look at others as on a totem type of piece and bully them, to make yourself bigger or smaller. So I think that's just it's a byproduct of society's kind of mode, selfish mode.
There is something about God's presence. Help me set the atmosphere. Let's send a message to glory, saying, Lord, you're welcome here. If he comes, there will be joy, peace, and good cheer, for he promised he'd wipe